Hello, my friends, at the end of year 7, and I've got glasses. What is going on? First up, we've got Andrew Wood. He's still with Inter. He's getting a €500 a week raise, baby. He's a squad player, though. That's massive, right? He'd gone from, breakthrough prospect to emergency backup. So I guess technically that was a promotion in squad status to an actual squad player. Now, I'm going to be curious, has that happened like going into this coming season, or has it already happened? Like, did he get some actual minutes? He's gotten 12 more caps and 12 more goals. Get in, Andrew. Great job, son. Great job, son. All right, let's go see. No milestones down here, so they didn't win any silverware. Uh-oh. No appearance. I'm just not noticing the things on the screen that you've probably already seen. No appearances for the club. Right. He was loaned out. That's okay. He was loaned out to Cagliari. Serie A, so it's not Serie B. They're part of the league here. 15 starts, 14 subs, 8 goals, 2 assists on a 7.0. That's really good as part of a loaned out team. That to me obviously is a full year loan, right? Obviously, he didn't have a single appearance for Inter. We went out, which is really good. He got 1 cup sub on a 6.8. Again, 12 international, 12 goals with only 2 players in the match on a 7.56. That seems incredible, doesn't it? But he's actually, like, the last 2 seasons, right? That loan for Fortuna Dusseldorf is quite important, it looks like, because it's like, okay, the last time he had double-digit appearances was with SC Peach, right? So now he's gotten 17 last year with 12 and 5. This season, or this past season, 15 starts, 14 subs, 8 goals, 7.0, like good rating. So he's, we've had some players go out on loan and do a 6.5, which has not been that good. So he's actually getting some appearances, and maybe, a 49.5 grand loan, which is kind of hilarious. Like, what were they paying? Like 10% of his wages or something like that? Because he was, he was on 11.5 grand a week. So paying 50 grand for the whole year seems like dropping the bucket, but they got something back. Maybe they paid the wages and part of the loan fee, right? Like, I just think it's kind of funny. I would do the same thing, right? I'm not saying like, I want to maximize my revenue, but it's just like 50 grand Inter, really? Like, is that really helping you out? But whatever. But now has that earned him the opportunity to like play for Inter, the massive season coming up? Because also, as noted, I think last episode, he's got a year left on his contract. So he has no like the club can't extend his contract like with the click of a button, right? They're going to have to offer him a new contract. So does he stay, like, or do they kind of like see how the first half of the season goes and offer him a contract in like December, or what? Because like otherwise he's leaving on a free. Really, really interesting. Now, from the attribute standpoint, lots of good things on the attributes as well. So, Andrew has been in the comments. He's one of my highest commenting people on the channel, and he's kind of like on, well, it was I'm proud of my international career, but like I don't think I'm going to make it at Inter. But I think this is cool. Like his first touch, free kick taking, and penalty taking are all up by 1. The mentals though is massive this past season, right? Like, goodness me, he's got anticipation, composure, decisions, determination, leadership, off the ball, positioning, and vision all up by 1. And from a physical standpoint, his acceleration, his pace, and his strength are all up by 1. So that loan was massive. He's now on a squad player. So what do you think happens? Do they offer him an extension, and does he take it? Or do they let him leave on a free, or do they sell him? I don't know. Like, but he hasn't stopped developing. So last season, getting those 29 total appearances in the same league, very, very important. What happens next? We'll find out next time. Likewise, we have Josh Payne, who was on a breakthrough prospect contract on 140 grand a week last time. He's now up to 150 grand, but a squad player. So we have 2 players going from that emergency backup breakthrough prospect zone into a squad player. But he also has a year left on his contract, so he also does not have an automatic extension that they can activate. What happens with these players? Now, he did get appearances last season. No, that's from 2022 through 2028. He looks like he went on loan to Leipzig. What is going on? He gets 11 starts, a sub, 2 goals, 4 assists on a 7.2 for Leipzig with 4 cup starts, 2 goals, 2 assists on a 7.47. He's lighting up the Bundesliga. Not a bad level. You know, let's look Leipzig, right? They're still good, right? So last season they finished 6th. Oh, dear. But they're not like relegation fodder, right? Like, that's a good team, and he did really well for them. And on top of that, in probably the first half of the season would be my guess. Yeah, maybe he got 12 substitute appearances. So again, he was a breakthrough prospect. He wasn't used all the time, and maybe they finally decided, okay, we got to get this guy some game time. They didn't get paid anything for the loan fee from Leipzig, but in league play, 12 subs, 2 goals on a 6.71, 4 continental subs. So he's got a Champions League experience on a 6.57, a cup start and a substitution on a 7.2, 6 internationals with 2 assists on a 7.68 is really good. That loan though, that's massive. I mean, to get 11 of your 12 appearances as starts and a 7.2 in the Bundesliga, that's a good level. That's a good level, even for a half season, right? If we go look at the form, I know I didn't do this on Andrew, but looking at the form here, yeah, he was with Juve in the first half of the season, and then they loaned him out in January after this game against Genoa. Or, no, after Milan, because he was an unused substitute. So they yanked him out of there, and off he goes. For Poland, oh, why? Why is he giving me Leipzig on this one? Anyway, for Poland, he got some more appearances here, playing against Belarus, Montenegro, France. So he's getting appearances there. You can pause and take a look deeper on that if you really, really, really want to, against good sides too, right? Like, okay, we're looking at 2026, so everything from Italy to Belgium, Austria, the Faroe Islands, France, and Montenegro and Belarus are teams he's playing against. And then for this one, it's going to show us that he played for Leipzig as a advanced playmaker and sometimes as a 10, as an attacking midfielder. But again, like, okay, he got an assist against Bayern. You know, he got an assist against Freiburg, a goal and assist against Stuttgart. I almost got that out, didn't I? A goal and assist against Borussia Dortmund right after he got there in February. Not a bad little loan, right? Like, comes out swinging like, hey, thanks for giving me a chance, right? Like, get done. He's up to 33.5 million. He's down to 33.5 million, I should say. He was at 43.5 million last time. Again, he got 11 more caps. And a goal. So that's something on the international level. I'm going to take a look at his attributes over here. All right, he did have some attribute changes. All right, it's getting really small. So Eduardo, I don't know if we could change the spreadsheet. I should ask this to you on Discord, but we'll mention it here to where we flip. On our spreadsheet, we have like year 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so the further you go out, it doesn't keep that first column with what the ratings are. So I'm having to zoom out. Maybe we could switch it. First touch, long shots, tackling, all up by 1. Get in, tackling, up to an 8. Bravery, composure, decisions, leadership, teamwork, agility, jumping, reach, and pace, all up by 1. So about 50% of his attributes went up by 1, and the others stayed the same. He's a midfield orchestrator still. We have 2 players in Serie A that the clubs have got to make a decision. Are they going to keep him? Are they going to sell him? Are they going to offer him a new contract? What is going to happen here? Did he have any crazy injuries? Bruised thigh? No. Pulled calf muscle? Nothing devastating, right? Again, his schedule with Poland. So he's playing in the Euro qualifiers here. 3-0 twice against Montenegro. He played in that. He lost to France. They lost to the Faroe Islands. Poland lost to the Faroe Islands. Interesting. Ooh, and they got stomped in, Nations League Division A. Only 1 win, no draw, so 3 points out of 6 games against Austria, Belgium, and Italy. Not exactly the best, but he's participating, and he's done a good job himself. Like, it's not necessarily his fault, right? If we go back to his international here, he ends up with 11 starts and a goal with 2 assists on a 7.34. So he's played well. Josh is doing great. The rest of Poland, not so much. So what do you think happens with him? Do you think, again, with he and Andrew Wood, like, I'm kind of curious. I'm going to take us back, and we'll go look at Andrew now from an international standpoint. All right, they're up to 76 in the world. It was partly African Nations League group stuff, so kind of a mixed bag there. They got to the, second round? second round. They lost in extra time to Morocco. Prior to that, it was qualifying for that. So he was getting experience in there. He got a brace against Mozambique, as we saw. That was last time. Yeah, so Mozambique was the first game that we've seen. Oh my goodness, he gets 5 goals against Malawi. I'm glad we took a look at that. That's kind of interesting. And also checking the injuries for him. Nothing too crazy. I get a pull. No, that was 2025. So bruised thigh. So like nothing devastating for either of those guys. Oh, Brian McGee is still with Tottenham. And he didn't go on loan last season down here. If you see it down here, that is so devastating. Not gonna lie. He was on 51 grand as a fringe player, up to 54 grand. He got 8 more caps internationally. He still doesn't have an international goal. I mean, what are you doing as a left back? What's up, bro? His value has somehow gone up 8 million. His contract is still the same end date. He's still wanted by somebody. Schalke wants him. Now he did, because he's already been loaned out to Schalke, but not last season. Last season, now, he did get 17 starts for Tottenham and an assist on a 6-7-8. 3 cup starts, 6 continental starts, 8 international starts, everything in the 6.8, 6.7, 6.65 range, depending on the competition there. But that's 17 starts. Did he get some kind of crazy injury? No. Fringe player. So like 17's like almost exactly half the season, which is, when I see stuff like that, that's just interesting to me. But he hasn't gone anywhere else. He's got 2 years left on his contract, so it's not like they have to force to be making a decision here. He's played some right back. He's played some midfield. Like, when did that happen? What on earth? Okay, at the end of the season. So did they sell the other player? Like, was he not really playing? And then they sold somebody? I mean, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 starts from January 27th. So I wonder if, he had a couple starts mixed in the fall, but then maybe they sold somebody. We could take a look at that. And he's doing all right. Like, but it's all wing back or fullback on the left-hand side. For Chile, all wing back on the left-hand side. One game, that was a couple of years, 2 years ago as a central defender. But everything else is he's playing wing back. It's just kind of like, he needs to move. Go get some minutes. Again, I'll go investigate and see if I can find a left back that they maybe sold in January. It's interesting trying to figure these things out, and I'm not seeing anybody aside from Brandon Williams who can even play left back. Now, he'd be a right-footed left back. He can play on either side. He's kind of like that guy that can go either way. And he did get 21 starts last season. So if you add his 21 to Brian's 17 to get 38 games, right? So that's the season. But did he only play left back? I can't see the form because he's not on our short list or anything like that. So, maybe should we add him? It's like everybody else, right there. The Nestor Osorio here is a left-footed or an either-footed center back, and he played every game. So you have to think he's a center back rather than sliding over to play left back. And the only other guy is a guy named David Duncan down here, who's a right-footed. He's only played left back a couple times, and he was on loan the entire last season, so he wasn't even there. Nobody else can play left back, so I don't understand. It has to be Brandon Williams getting the split of the minutes, even though he's a right-footed. Again, they could be playing like an inverted wing back or something like that. I don't know. That's just odd. And from a development standpoint, it's not bad. His dribbling, first touch, and penalty taking are up by 1. You've really been working on those penalties, Brian. You're going from a 2 to a 3. Get in, son. A 50% increase. Composure, concentration, decisions, flair, off the ball, positioning, all up by 1. His balance was up by 2. His agility, his jumping reach, his stamina and strength up by 1. Again, he doesn't look like a bad player. Now, I would say he doesn't look like a starting left back in the Premier League, right? Like, the crossing isn't very good. His first touch is okay, but on the technical side, he's lacking a little bit. Now, he's got the physicals, right? Great acceleration, can jump really high, so good on set pieces. Put him in at center back if you need to. There's good things going on here, but it's, I think, the lack of playing time leading up to this has really hindered his development. I really want him to leave, to be honest with you. Like, go someplace else where you'll get minutes anywhere. I don't even care if it's the championship, honestly. Like, go get 38 games this season. Otherwise, I kind of feel like he's kind of stuck. Do you agree? Leave a comment. I really enjoyed the comments on last episode where people were like, where did Stuttgart in the 2 Bundesliga get 41.5 million euros? We'll take a look to see if they like sold some crazy player for 100 million or something like that, but that's a very valid point. They've been saving up their, they got a little piggy bank that put in the gate receipts and all that kind of stuff. He's still with Stuttgart. He's on 68 grand. He was on 65 grand, so he's got a massive 3 grand a week bump, probably like a 5% raise or whatever that is. Contract's still the same. He's got 8 more caps and 4 more goals. His value has gone up by 10 million from 23.5 to 35.5, so almost to the value that they paid for him. He got, let's see, what did he do last season? 31 starts, 18 goals in the Bundesliga with 1 assist, only 1 player of the match on a 7.24. Also, 1 cup start with a goal and assist on a 9.1. Wow. 6 international starts, 4 goals on a 7.48 as well. That's a tidy little season for Mr. Kev as the one of the main strikers, you would imagine, with the amount of goals that he's putting in. Okay, it doesn't say that they got relegated, so let's check out Stuttgart. Oh, wow, they finished 8th. 8th. To go from being that promoted team and hoping you survive to finishing 8th is monumental, I would argue. Concussion at the end of the season, a hernia in October that had him out, so he missed about 5 weeks of the season. Well, the concussion probably is past the end of the season, so really probably just missed 3 weeks of playing time. They're playing him as an advanced forward, as you can see, doing good stuff there the entire time, playing as an advanced forward. I'm just kind of curious. It doesn't have the cup on there. He did have a cup start on a 9.1. I'm just kind of curious if that was the only game they played in the cup. In the Dominican Republic, he's playing advanced forward, getting lots of games, starting here with Curaçao, Jamaica, and so on. Had a crazy game against Saint Barthélemy with a brace and an assist. Not bad. Even did a 6.9 and came off in the 69th minute against the United States. So, like, playing against some better competition with the Dominican Republic. Let's go take a look at Stuttgart. Like, I'm just curious when the 1 cup start. That's kind of random, isn't it? I love when it does this. Cup. They got knocked out. They got knocked out by Jan Regensburg 3-1. He didn't even score. Oh, he must have played in the... Interesting. They didn't play... Well, maybe they played him, but... They got knocked out in the second round by Jan... That sounds like somebody's name. Jan Regensburg from the 2 Bundesliga. But he played in the first round. That's where he got his 9.1 with a goal. I mean, they smashed that team. That's probably low league? Yeah, Bavaria North. But... Wow, that's probably an upset, you'd argue, right? A 2 Bundesliga team taking out a team that eventually finished 8th. Now, maybe they finished 8th because they had nothing else to focus on. That's a pretty rough start to the season, and then things changed. So, I don't know. Did he get a new manager? No. Same manager's been there the whole time. So they got promoted, and they let him stay despite the rough start, but they kind of changed it around in January. I wonder if they got, like, some crazy new player. We said we were going to look to see where'd they get the money, right? Let's go back. Wait, no. Yeah, go back a season. Is that when Mr. Kev, in February? So did they sell somebody? It's not. They didn't sell somebody massive like the week before for tons of money. They brought in a total of 99 million throughout that season. From what is that, July until February. They sold Claudio Bravo to Claudio Bravo. What? Okay, interesting. That's not the same one. I don't think that I was thinking of. They sold a player for 22.5 million in August, so maybe they hadn't spent all that money because it's August. But they spent a lot of money in January, in the January window. Look at that, 16 was at 28 and a quarter, 38 and a quarter. Where did they get all this money? Was it the previous season? Okay, maybe that explains it. Maybe they sold a bunch of players the season before and hadn't had a chance to really reinvest, and then they really splashed out. And that's what kind of changed their season. Or no, that was the previous season, wasn't it? They didn't buy anybody this January to change their season. I have no idea where they got the money. That was like multiple people asked, where did they get that money to spend $41.5 million to Mr. Kip? No idea. No idea. Maybe they got a new owner, new team ownership came in and, gave a big investment. Who knows? I don't know. I know that was a lot on that, but like that was one of the highest commented things on the last episode. It was like, where did they get the money? No idea. Can't help you there. Let's look at his attributes. Really good development, which is great. Like, so he's a star player. He's knocking in a goal every two games, something like that. Whatever it was, 18 to 31, whatever that math works out to be. One every 1.75 games, whatever it is. And he's developing. And they finished 8th and invested heavily in the January window they bought him. So hopefully the team has got some staying power here. Crossing, dribbling, free kick taking, heading, long shots, marking, and passing, all up by 1. You can see there's lots of green on the screen here. Anticipation, concentration, decisions, leadership, positioning, vision, agility, balance, stamina, and strength. One of those was up by 2. I think it's the anticipation went from a 10 to a 12. Everything else is up by 1. But look at, he's a physical masterpiece here. Really fast, can get up to speed quickly, and he's fast, and can run forever because he's got the stamina. Pretty agile, good balance. He's not your target man. He's not jumping reach, although he does have good heading. If you could zing that ball in, he could still get to it. Good enough strength, really good decisions and flair and off the ball and technique and first touch and finishing and dribbling. I could see why he's scoring a lot of goals. I'm feeling pretty good about Mr. Kev, to be honest with you. He could be there, right, for a while, assuming that the team is reinvested like that and they've got a good squad. Can they add on to that finishing 8th, or will it be like a reversion to the mean? The next thing you know, they're finishing 14th, and it's like, oh, or can they push on to get into like some sort of continental competition? Get on, Mr. Kev, get on. And the last thing here with him is the international stuff, right? So they got to the Gold Cup group stage, and they did about as what you'd expect, honestly, from the Dominican Republic, right? And it's not like he played necessarily poorly. He didn't play in the first group stage game. That seems like a poor decision by somebody, unless I just missed it. There's not a Mr. Kev in this list, yeah? But he did play against the United States. I guess they're trying to keep their best players available to play the United States, but you still lost to Panama. That's not exactly what you want to do. And then he played a 6.2 against Guadalupe. The less that's said about the better. And then a bunch of friendlies before that, and it was kind of a mixed bag. That's the level that the Dominican Republic is at. They're 119th in the world. All right, another player in Serie A, Liam Flanagan, still with Fiorentina. He was on 42.5. He's up to 61 grand. So we got a big raise and a contract extension. Okay, so Pekka got paid. A 2-year extension. He was on a contract till 2029. It's now 2031. That's why his wages went up. What is that? Pretty much 50%. 17.75 million. So his value has only gone up by 750 grand. That's not a massive change. He's wanted, though. That's interested by Milan. Ooh, is he going to get snatched up by a bigger team? Now, again, I'm kind of nervous about that, because whenever these big clubs like a Juve or a Milan or somebody, is he going to keep getting those regular starter minutes, or is it more like, hey, let's make sure Fiorentina can't score goals against us and you're going to be a fringe player on 160 grand a week, right? So kind of like him to stay here if he can have a good experience. Ooh, okay, wait a minute. Okay, he's a center back. I always forget where these guys are. 33 starts on a 691. So he's improved his rating from last season. Almost matched his rating from the first season when they signed him. But played 2 less games. I wonder if he had a knock or something like that. But he gets 2 cup starts with a goal and an assist on a 7.3 and 7 international starts on a 7.59. That's not bad. That's not bad. The cup is much better. Now, last season they played 3 cup games. They did a 6.77. So maybe they played some easier competition, or the team is better. Who knows? Let's look to see if he had some kind of crazy injury. A hamstring strain for 3 weeks. A bruised jaw for a week in September, and that's it. So maybe the that month total together, maybe that kind of kept him from getting those other starts. I don't think it's something where they brought somebody else in, right? It looks like he's one of the main starters, probably the right-footed center back. We could check that on the form here. Ball playing defender. Oh, it's not going to tell if he's on the right, obviously, but out of the last 20 possible games, he played in 16 of them. He was suspended. Okay, so he's got picked up some yellow card accumulation absences, and then this is coming off of an injury. So that explains, he comes off injured against Sassuolo in the 51st minute, and then he's in light training, and then comes back and gets back to playing regularly, right? So that's all good. For Paraguay, he is starting lots of games here. Looks like some friendlies probably, instead of anything from a competition standpoint. Looks okay. Let's check the attributes here. This is where you kind of wonder if this would encourage him to leave, because he's not really had a massive uptake in development. Only 2 technicals, and that's going to be corners and marking, a 9 and a 12, which is interesting. Like, surely he's not the corner taker. He was a 9. It's an 8. It's gone down. Sorry. But the marking's gone up. So he's not being used as corners. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But only the marking's gone up. So, it's hard. His tackling's already a 16. His first touch is a 16. But, you kind of want that to continue to keep going up. But only 1 technical attribute has gone up. His bravery, concentration, teamwork, and work rate have all gone up by 1. And the only physical development he's had is his pace. So again, let's look at Fiorentina here. Facility standpoint, they've got excellent training facilities. Now, it's not superb, it's not world class, but they're not like terrible either. So you kind of go, is he gonna feel like, hey, I'm 23, I'm gonna be 24 at the end of the season, I need to get to a bigger club that's got those facilities so I continue to develop my career? Because he's a center back, right? He's got time to develop, and he's playing at a good level, but it's that he wants to continue developing. Now, his determination being a 6, I wonder if that's also going to hold him back as well. But really interesting stuff here, again, with Paraguay. All friendlies, as we thought. So nothing really from a competition standpoint. They did make the World Cup second round, as we noted last time, which is kind of cool. And they beat the Netherlands or Holland, depending on what part of Football Manager you're looking at. But yeah, that's what's going on there with Liam. Oh, I should also point out he has a 25 million euro relegation release clause. So again, not that you're wanting them to go down, but somebody could come along. Again, he's only worth 7, so like that's higher than his current value. But if somebody, was like, hey, this guy looks pretty good. All right, when we last saw Peter Doyle was with Braga, he's now with Atletico Madrid. But he's not played for them. He's played for the B team. He's a B team regular. Expects to play for the B team and not without being involved at the first team level. That's not what you want. I mean, he went from 4.9 grand to 23. Okay. His contract was up in a year from now. So I guess they've sold him for 4 million. I mean, it's a good return for Braga. So like, you pay essentially nothing for a player you sell for 4 million and you use him for a little bit. I was just, like this season he had 24 appearances. You're like, all right, we're getting someplace. We're developing. And then Atletico Madrid comes along, snatches him up for 4 million, and sticks him down to the B team where he's not gonna get the attention. Less than ideal. He gets 33 starts, 6 subs, 7 assists on a 6.97, 7 international starts with a goal and a 6.89. Obviously, no cup, no continental because he's playing for the B team, and he doesn't even expect to not play for the B team. Like that's. Oh, okay, that's old. He hasn't had any kind of crazy injury, but. They're playing him as a right winger, sometimes as a 4-4-2 right midfield right winger. Oh, man. I'm so gutted. I thought Peter was the one, and maybe it's just that he's made some bad moves where he hasn't developed as much. He's listed for loan now. That wouldn't be so bad, but like nobody's interested. It's almost like Did he move to the wrong club? Did he move to too high of a level too early? Like, should he gone somewhere else, like to a second division team in Portugal, to where he would get a lot of game time and develop instead of going straight to? I mean, he went. It's not like he got a massive contract, right? The highest he made with Braga was 4.9 grand a week, which again, is nothing to sneeze at. But would it have been better to kind of make that jump in smaller steps rather than going straight there, because he just hasn't really developed, and now it's almost too late. Like, and he's still getting tons of international appearances, but he's that again. He comes across as like that really pacey winger that can cross the ball, but has some gaps on some other technical things, and the mentals aren't perfect. But again, it's not all bad. Like, really, acceleration and pace and agility of 16 is really good. I hope he gets a loan. Where would you like him to get loaned out to? Anywhere that jumps out? I'm just kind of checking real quick. It doesn't look like any massive development. His passing has actually gone down from a 15 to a 14, so he's regressed there. That's not good. And nothing else really jumps out from hey, he's added anything significant to his game. The physicals are pretty much all the same. His stamina has gone down by 1 as well. Again, I don't think it's the end of the road. It's just, I don't think it's going to reach the heights we once thought it did. Now for, the international level, just African Nations League, Nations Cup qualifying, is that what that is? It's not gone well. It's not gone well. That he did score a goal against Madagascar, so get in. But again, they're 117th in the world. Man, that's not how I thought this was going to end. I mean, again, it's not ended, but maybe he gets a loan. Maybe he gets a loan someplace where they'll play him. Chris Carpenter has moved to Liverpool. He was with Ghent. He's moved to Liverpool. Oh, and feels Erling Haaland is a vital part of the team. The dream, the Liverpool fans' dream. We've got Chris Carpenter, the Nepalese legend, and Erling Haaland gets in. How did this happen? 36 million. So that was at probably September, right before the close of the summer window, because he had 27 total appearances and then 5 for Ghent. So getting started the early part of the season with Ghent, he plays the 7-5-2, 5 starts, 2 goals, 1 assist, gets some attention. And then 18 starts, 9 subs, 6 goals, 4 assists, 7-3-2 in the Premier League. 4 starts, 2 subs, a goal, 2 assists, 2 players in the match in the Cup on a 7.9. 1 continental start, 6 subs on a 7.0 with an assist. 5 international starts, 3 goals, 2 assists, 2 players in the match on 7.96. He's had a phenomenal year. Let's just check. No crazy injuries. Otherwise, that would have impacted him. He's playing an inverted winger, as Liverpool do. Wow. That's not what I thought was going to happen. We'll check his international because he picked up, looks like some friendlies against Bahrain, Iraq, and then maybe some qualifying games against Vietnam and Sri Lanka. We'll take a look. But that, wow, he's on contract until 2031. He had 2 years left, so it wasn't like they were forced to make a decision. But when Liverpool comes calling, I'm sure he was like, I want to go. He goes from making 13.5 grand a week to 90 grand a week. That is good stuff. We'll check the international, but let's check the attributes first here to see has that really helped him going to that level? All right, not bad. We've got corners, crossing, long throws, and passing all up by 1 on the technical side, so not a ton of technical development. Mentals, there's, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So anticipation, flair, off the ball positioning, and work rate makes sense for the Liverpool system. Now we'll have to see who's still there. Agility, balance, and stamina all up by 1. So that's pretty interesting. Jurgen Klopp is still there. So, I don't know. It's just stuff like that where it's like, wow, okay, so his anticipation, his flair, his off the ball positioning and work rate all up by 1. Stamina up by 1. That seems, playing inverted seems like a Jurgen Klopp team and still is. He's worth 65 million. Let's point that out. Internationally here, Nepal is still 182nd in the world. They've got World Cup qualifying coming up. Again, that was against Sri Lanka, but they got, I guess it was away goals. Yeah, or no, not away goals. I can read. They scored 3 goals to their 2 against Sri Lanka, so they just barely get by Sri Lanka, who is 200th in the world. That's some Dodgy Gamer International Man of Mystery. Fantastic series. If you haven't seen it, go look up Dodgy Gamer. SAF Championship Group, which is South Asian Football Federation Championship, I believe. Bhutan, with a win, and then that's entry 2 neutral site games, and then an away game. That seems a little harsh, doesn't it? Someone explain that to me. But, he's doing all right. He's clearly their best player by a long mile. County mile, country mile, what's the phrase? Doing all right, though. 90 grand a week. He's on contract for another 4 years. Gonna get some Champions League football. Liverpool, yes, finished second. So they've not won the league since 2023, I should say. So they won it in, obviously, 2020, and then 3 years later. And then, finishing second last season. But obviously, let's take a look at the... Allison, Trent, some guy named Eric Garcia, Edgar Gregor, Tonali, lots of changes. Curtis Jones still there. João Felix and Erling Haaland. Those are names we all recognize. Fabinho still there. Andy Robertson is still there. Nico Williams is still around. Everyone else is turned over. So, and obviously Allison, I think I said that, but I have that filtered. What is the filtering? Okay, just the senior squad. Okay, that's all I really want to see anyway. Isn't that the normal view? Anyway, good times for Chris. Wow. All right, Joe Bridgeman, who made the massive move to PSG, I think it was not last season, 2 seasons ago, still there. Okay. We were wondering what was going to happen with him, right? He's up to 210 grand a week. He was on 170 grand as a squad player. So did they bow into the fan pressure? They're like, no, we can't lose this guy. He's got 12 more international caps. Whoa. They won the league, as you would expect, right? The contract is good for 4 more years. He signed it in February. Okay, so he was coming up on having 2 years left. So they went ahead and extended. Gets a nice loyalty bonus. You can imagine Pekka made some money on that. The agent. Last season, 35 straight starts. No subs. A goal, an assist on a 698. 4 cup on a 662. That's pretty poor in the cup. My goodness. 5 continental on a 712 is much better. And then it's saying 14 international. Maybe it's counting some of the stuff. There's some overlap there because our count had it at 30 last time, and now it says 42, and I could do that math. That's 12. But, doing all right. Now, a little bit of a dip, a 0.05 dip. He's actually, his average rating has gone down every season, which is not ideal, but they've given him more money and made him a regular starter. So, as you do, wing back the whole way, which makes sense. And then for Russia, he's playing as a wing back. Okay, yeah, tons of experience starting here. So what is that? Like we looked at Euro qualifiers probably. From an attribute standpoint, let's check. I would like your thoughts on this. Because I'm not sure how to interpret. He only had 3 attributes go up. Nothing went down, so it's not like he's regressed. But his technique, anticipation, and vision, all up by 1. So technique to a 14 from a 13. Anticipation from a 16, already green, to a 17. And the vision from a 13 to a 14. Why is that? I mean, I know players start to slow down from a development standpoint, 24-ish in Football Manager. I know it's not a hard and fast rule. They can still develop technically and whatever, but I'm just trying to, I'm about to sneeze. Oh, sorry about that. He's getting lots of playing time. He's at a state-of-the-art training facilities club. You would think, Pochettino's still there. You would think he would develop more. I would. Is he bad at training? I don't try and understand. For those of you that don't know my channel or watch any of my actual playing the game series, I like to look at it more from a narrative standpoint than this is exactly what this attribute does, right? Understanding how the game engine runs is not really of interest to me. But I just go does that mean he's not a great trainer, right? You get those players as not, consistently puts in average or subpar effort in training. Because I would just think he's playing lots of minutes. He's getting into the Champions League. He's got superb state-of-the-art training facilities. I would just think his technicals would have improved more by now. And maybe he's kind of leveled off and it was a lot of physical development and mental development, and then it's going to kick off as he ages. I don't know. It just kind of surprises me, to be honest with you. He's not even he's got some competition for the best player for Russia. Igor Diviv is a center back. 25.5 million. I think Joe looks a little bit better. From a schedule standpoint, though, the Euro qualifiers, okay, so they beat Scotland and Andorra. They lost 3-2 to Germany, which is probably a fair result. Some draws with Norway and Croatia are not ideal. Spain, a loss to Norway, beating Croatia, losing to Spain. So and that's not Euro qualifiers, that's the Nations League. So did they get knocked out of the Nations League? No, they finished second. Norway gets relegated out of that top-level Nations League. And then in the group stage of qualifying, they are currently third, and they are 6 points behind Germany. And a point behind that. I always get the World Cup and Euro qualifying. Isn't there the second-place teams that potentially can move on? We're not going to look that up, but they're not crushing it. Now, you're in a group with Russia, so, that's kind of hard. And you've already played Germany, so that, at least for one of the games. So that's, you've got some Belarus and Iceland's coming up in Andorra. Maybe that helps. I don't know. But my thought last time was like, ooh, is Joe going to stay here? Is he already unhappy? But they've seemed to have sorted that out. Now my bigger concern is Joe going to stop developing, or is he going to push on now? What do you think? I'll be honest with you, I'm not even going to look at Gordon's attributes. He's injured. He's got a hernia. They won the Canadian Premier League, calendar year, January to December. The only good news, my friends, and I just saw it, right there, has asked to leave, wants to move to a bigger club. You got 2 years left on your contract. He's calling his agent. He's like, Pekka, get me out of Canada. Or is he just going to move to a bigger Canadian club? Right? Is that, they won the league, so what is even happening? That's the fall season. Overall table, they're still top of the table, so it's like he can't move to a bigger CPL team. Can he move somewhere else? Is there still a hope for Gordon Bell to make a move someplace, any place? He's got 9 more caps and 2 more goals, so we'll take a look at that. The rest of it's just kind of like, he finishes last season, again, calendar season, 18 starts, 2 goals, 718, blah, blah, blah. This season, to start the season, 10 starts on a 699. Yay. Where is he playing for Canada at? He's deep line playmaker. Okay, we'll go take a look at the Canadian schedule group stage. Okay, so they're still in the group stage currently. They play Guatemala today. He didn't play in that game. He didn't play in that. Where did he get 9? Did he play in the... Oh, we can't see the friendlies, of course. That's useful, isn't it? He did come in as a sub against Egypt. And he started against Curacao and got an 8.4 with a goal. That was a friendly. So it looks like a lot of his stuff is the friendlies. Did he play against Belgium? Yes. He comes on as a sub. They lost to the World Cup quarterfinals to Belgium 5-1. You kind of expect it. Right, you got Alphonso Davies and a bunch of whoever else, right? Kyle Laren's up there. Some other names that you recognize. I'm not saying they don't have anybody, but I would expect Canada to lose Belgium. Maybe not a 5-1, but he does get to come on a 6.8, and then he plays in a bunch of friendlies and gets another goal against Syria, although they lost. Curious if he plays against Guatemala, but the good news is he's asked to leave. So will he actually be able to leave? All right, we had Greg Baxter. Greg, he was at Nizhny Novgorod forever. He's moved to Lech. That's in Poland, right? 10 grand a week. That's a raise of 50%. He was on 4.6 grand. He's got 10 more caps and 2 more goals. His value's got up 500 grand. At least he's moved. At least now, when did he move? His contract was signed in February, so he was a end of January window optional contract extension. So January window sale looks like $8.5 million. I would say they got good value out of him, to be honest with you. Now, did Nizhny? No, they stayed up, but he wanted to leave, so they got 17 starts out of him in the first half of the season on a 701. Some for $8.5 million, and to Greg's credit, right? 11 starts with a goal on a 687, coming in as a new player, slotting straight into the squad. Now, the Extraklasse versus the Premier League. The Russian Premier League is 8th in Europe. The Extraklasse is 20th. So he's gone down, a level. So hopefully that was like, maybe he had to learn Polish. Let's take a look at his information. He has basic Polish, so he's learning. He's undroppable internationally due to form for his country. So maybe he was settling in, and now he's going to continue to develop. I'm curious where they used him. Central midfield. So he's not playing a DM for Lech. And then for Macau, he's playing central midfield. Probably, again, I would imagine as like a holding mid, because that's kind of his skill set, isn't it? But nobody's playing him as a DM where he started. So, I don't know. I think that's probably a good move. Go down a little bit of level, but maybe you can up your performances. You get paid more. Their facilities are excellent. What were the facilities like? I don't even remember right now. At Nizhny, they were below average. So is it almost too little too late to finally move to a club with really good facilities? Or can that actually enhance his capabilities? He's only been there since February. Let's take a look at the attributes. I mean, it's not every attribute, but it's some. He's got 3 technicals, so he's got crossing, dribbling, and long shots all up by 1. Good jump in the mentals. He's got anticipation, composure, flair, teamwork, vision, and work rate all up by 1. And some of those were really good already. And then agility, natural fitness, pace, and stamina all up by 1. I don't think he's going to, some of these aren't going to get past 12, maybe. Right? Like, if you look at these, but it's better than not developing it. And that's only in, essentially 5 months, right? Because it's July 2nd. He signed on February 7th. So there's a chance he could continue. Again, I think his vision, like that holding mid that can ping the ball around, that's your guy. He just isn't very physically capable. That's the only major problem. He had a concussion, so he's out for 2 weeks. A gashed head as well, but that was probably before. No, that was versus Spartak Moscow. Was that a friendly or no? Am I thinking of the Russian league incorrectly? That's July 12th of last episode, or after last episode, and then a tight hammy. So no like devastating injuries. And then on the international level, they're in World Cup qualifying. They drew and beat Cambodia. The East Asian Cup qualifying did not go well. That's interesting. Do they? They did well in the first preliminary round, but the actual round against Hong Kong, Chinese Taipei, and North Korea, they got kind of stomped into the ground, really. But, he's still their best player, top player. They've got somebody leaving the club. Okay. I don't know. I think it's a good move, just from a facility standpoint. So I'm excited to see what happens with Greg Baxter next episode. And as always, Pekka unfortunately has to be last every time because it shows all the teams. But still here, still has all 10 players as his clients. He's known to be flexible and willing to negotiate in order to reach an agreement for his clients. So he's not that super aggressive, jackwagon kind of guy. Highest value here, just beating out Chris Carpenter, who has jumped up on the list, as you note. There's something flying around me. 66 million still for Joe Bridgeman, 65 million for Chris Carpenter, and then a couple players in the 30s, one player in the 20s, 2 players in the teens or the 10s, is that what we call it? And then 2 players in the 0 to 10, and then Gordon, who is hoping to escape Canada. But my friends, again, I'm going to try and record a bunch of these, so the attributes will probably look at less at the attributes because I'm trying to get some content out. It's kind of been a rough go in my career and my family life recently, and I just got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to try and crank out a bunch of content for you so I could schedule that and take some time off for me. If you've enjoyed this episode and if you're enjoying the series, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. If you really enjoyed this content and want to support more of it in the future, once life gets back to normal, you can go to patreon.com/grayhairgaming or become a YouTube member. For the 50 or so people that are doing that right now, I really thank you for your support. Or if you just watch the ads and tell people about this. Again, like, as a content creator, if you log into Twitter, it's like somebody's tagged you, but also said, everybody go watch this. That also, like, really, like, warms your soul a little bit. It's like, oh, there's actual people watching. Leaving comments helps, you know, all that stuff. You know what to do, because I talk about it every episode. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.